This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, so I thought we'd start with a quick thing about food as it relates, because I was like cooking something recently, and I was like, oh, this is very much similar to like all other cultures. Remember we were saying before that all cultures, they have like their own, like they're essentially all the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, but like it's different forms in different cultures. So like you have curry, right, where you just put a bunch of stuff in and then you make some sort of like saucy soup. I was making chili and I was like, well, this is like the Western version of, or like the Mexican version of like curry. And then Filipinos, they have the same thing where it's like a soup and they just put a bunch of stuff in as well. You know, and it's like it's
just
weird.
A stew is. That's what a stew is.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Soups are the
right. And it's weird. It's like you don't think about how similar we all are until like it's weird. Like when you start putting labels on things, because then you start thinking them as individual things rather than what it is. So like spaghetti and noodles, right? Essentially the same thing. It's like long strings of some carb with additional stuff on top, but it's like because we called it spaghetti and not like chow mein is different. Obviously, like the difference is in the flavor, but essentially we're all creating the same things.
Yeah.
It was really weird, right? It's sort of like we talked about this with religion too, and then how we all came out of Africa, and then all the religions kind of have the same basis, like the Sumerians and stuff. Yeah. I thought that was really
well, it would be the same thing. Would make sense. Food to be following through along with their migration,
and totally,
and evolve based on local ingredients too, right? But the basics are still the same.
Yeah, right. Like rice with some sort of thing, or like noodles with some sort of thing. Soups. I was because like so.
There's always a stable dish, right? So most of Asia is rice, right?
Right.
Or like bread for Europe, because they can't really grow the rice.
But it's some sort of carb, right?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. It's weird when you start thinking about that. I was like making chili, right? It was like vegetable chili, and then as I was like speaking about labels, I was thinking about like, oh, I can make this thing called like chili con carne, right? And it sounds foreign, right? Because you're like, oh, chili con carne, what's that? But like con means with, and then carne means meat, so it's chili with meat. You know what I mean? It's like, but because I called it chili con carne, in my head I was like, oh, this is something fancy,
right?
But it's like really, really not. You know, like
it's simple. Yeah,
we do that with like a lot, and you know, like I'm thinking about like the French stuff. The snails.
Yeah. Escargot.
There you go. Yeah. We call it escargot, but it's just like snails. And like frog legs and stuff. Like it's really interesting to think about. What was weird too is like in Cambodia, one of their famous dishes is frog. But then when I ordered it, I was like, here we're like, oh, this is so foreign. But if you go to France, it's like we eat frog all the time.
Yeah.
You know? So many things that like we keep thinking that we're not similar, but we're like very similar. Yeah. Just a thought.
Well, but even with that, you said, where was it?
Cambodia.
Were they ever like a French affected by the French or anything
I don't
in any way?
think so. Vietnam was. affected by the French.
Vietnam. Okay. No, just like even like it doesn't have to. It's sure it can be from the past, and similarities just stay like that, or they evolve like that, and sometimes it's like they come across to these lands, right? So like like when Britain came to India, it's like the spices spread around the world, and they're using curry spices in like different areas, in different ingredients. Like was it in Germany that was using like in these hot dogs curry sauce? Like, it's something. Really? Yeah, it's like, or it was also I think the Britain that with this the curry stuff that went to Japan. It was like that even of all, like, you know what I mean?
True, actually, yeah, because like
with the trade also things get
that's very
sent
true.
Around.
I didn't think about that too. Yeah, the curry, the Japanese cutlet, pork cutlet with curry and stuff. Yeah, it's weird. Even like think about we saw News of the World and they had like coffee. Remember, it was like a big, and it's like, yeah, but we still drink coffee, and like that. It's weird. It's like when you, I guess we heard it also in that food show. Remember the one where they go to different cultures and then they break down like foods. That's where I saw Alex Atala for the first time.
Right.
Do you remember the show?
Like each, was it the one with the monk?
Yeah, the monk was there.
Yeah.
Chef's Table?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So in that they were talking about how the foods really bring us all together. Like there's no boundary, you know, because you're just eating it and there's like just flavors. And I'm really beginning to see that now that like I'm starting to cook more. It's like, oh, these are really the same things. So last night I made guacamole and what do you call that? Salsa.
Yeah.
Right? It's weird when you like, you just need to package things in a special way, and then it seems like it's super different. Like the guacamole was literally just avocado smashed up, and then like I added like cayenne pepper, you know, and then like the salsa was just tomato and shallots, like onions, right? And like when you like if you don't make it, you're like, oh, this must be so difficult, you know, like what is this thing you're making? It's like it's like a weird.
But when you do make it on your own, then you realize you can add your own spin to it. So like like even the guac is like you did what did you do? Cayenne pepper. Like if you like chopped in some onions.
Yeah,
or like,
exactly, totally.
Like you can do all these things by your, like, you know what I mean, your own interpretation of it.
Yeah, totally. And I find that interesting too in terms of nutrition, because then you know what you're putting into it.
Exactly.
So it's like it's fascinating even on that level, because you know like burgers and stuff, like McDonald's burgers, there's like fillers in it. Yeah. You know, you hear fillers, right? But you don't really know what that means. Sometimes like wood chips, right? But like if you were making the burger yourself, because like when you make burgers, you need like egg and breadcrumbs. Egg and breadcrumbs makes like a sticky paste. Yeah. Which is kind of like glue, so you can make a burger out of it, a burger patty. But like at like other places, like, you know, they're probably using like xanthan gum or something, you know, it's some sort of chemical, so that they wouldn't have to waste money on eggs. It's just, let's just create this one chemical and then, you know, stick it together. Yeah. Food's a fascinating one. I feel like there's nothing more universal than food.
That's,
I mean, you could say religion, but
no. I mean, like in a way to connect with people, food is the best way.
I know, right? It's fascinating. Yeah, but then you also have those people who are like super picky eaters, and then
but those are few and far between. You know what I mean? Like those are very few. Like you can go into those nicks and corners of all these things of anything, right? You're gonna find people who are different from that, but in generality, right? When we speak in generality terms, food is the best way to
bring people together and stuff. Yeah, totally. What was that thing? Remember that BBC show or whatever that you showed me, and then they took different people from religions, and then like this Catholic kid.
Okay,
Muslims, right?
yeah.
And then because I was reminded of the food. Remember, he's like, "Oh, it's spicy." You know, and they like, it was interesting. The show. I
don't remember the name of the show. It was just that one episode that I watched of that. Some UK show where they put kids, like like a play date kind of thing with different
different
kids
religions.
of different culture backgrounds.
Yeah.
And so that they can learn from each other. When they're kids, right?
And it's interesting to see like them, what they're connecting to. They're like, oh, this is similar in mine.
Mm-hmm. I think at that age you can probably catch that more.
Yeah,
easier.
Right, totally. And it's like as you grow up, you build this separation idea. Mm-hmm. You know, like us versus them, and then you start figuring out ways that you're different from other people. Mm-hmm. You know, but most people don't really spend so much time like focusing on the similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should do that more often.
I know, right? Yeah, totally. And there's so many things that are like popular from like a culture, you know, like everyone's all about sushi right now, right? Even the West, right? Because it's like, it seems like a delicacy, but that's just what's in right now, you know. The more you look into other cultures, the more you'll be able to find things that you like about it, and then not have to, you know, fight with one another.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird that like food brings us all together, but religion separates us. Right? Like,
yeah, I mean, religion can,
even like back in the day, right? You would invite them to a banquet, right? If there was like a neighboring tribe, or like to like be to bring peace, it would always be some sort of banquet meal. Like it would be a meal, you know. It wouldn't be like, let's bring you to church or something, you know. Yeah. Oh, there's something to food that I'm really fascinated about right now. That's like I'm just tapping into now that I'm starting to create it. It's like there's really.
I think food is like food brings. It's a bit more like social.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, totally.
Like you're communal. You're talking with each other. Like You know, you're all eating together, kind of thing.
Totally,
it's really bringing people together, right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
in all aspects. So
I was watching Dustin Poirier. He was doing a cooking show because he really likes cooking, and he was saying that the preparation for the meal that he's making, like the gumbo, would have taken like 4 hours. But in that 4 hours, you're like talking with each other, like catching up.
Yeah.
We're kind of missing that aspect in our society now, you know, like of like a communal based. Maybe it's COVID. Maybe it's just because like we've been separated, so I feel like we're missing that. But yeah, we could do more of that. I'm saying like
right, yeah. But I think the like cooking at home has increased because of COVID.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's why I started too. It's just like. Well, no, I started because Tara asked me to make a couple of meals, and then I was like, yeah, sure. But like keeping it going, because well, one, it's expensive to always just like eat out,
of course,
and two, it's like you don't really know what's all like, especially with COVID, because you know some places they didn't use masks while they were like preparing your food, and you're like, ooh, I don't know about all that. There's one place that we really like, this like Greek place. I think I've said it before. I won't say where it is. We really love that place, but whenever I'd go in, they'd be like maskless, and I was just like, it's a little odd, even during like the height of COVID.
Oh yeah.
So it was like really weird to me. Yeah, but anyways, any other final thoughts on food? Oh, knives are so important. I've started to appreciate different brands of knives and different knives. Like you can get like like a stock knife, but you know that new one that I bought, that really thin one, it cuts so smooth because it's like built different, you know. It's like thinner and
right.
I
don't know. I haven't cut too much with it, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just like always using it, I'm like, oh, these. It's just interesting that they're like different tools. I guess that's like with everything. You could say that about guitars, right? Like this guitar feels different.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
But for me, it's
because I was thinking like, oh, a knife is a knife, right? Like they're all the same, they're all cutting, right? But then like they have different.
Well, they go dull, right?
No, but also there's like I was watching this other video and they're talking about like fillet knives, and they have to be really heavy because when you put them on the fish, it's supposed to like squish the fish, and then you just run the blade across. But if the knife wasn't heavy, you couldn't.
Right. Okay.
Like,
I see what you mean.
Correctly.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating. There's a whole world to discover in terms of eating. But anyway, so we just checked out Fast 9. I think we said we were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Last week into this week. It's really cool that movie theaters are back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it was odd that...
No, I didn't feel odd.
No, right? It felt like back to normal. It was pretty packed too when we were in like line.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like, I don't know how much, like to say 6 months or more.
Since we've been to the theater? Whenever Tenet was there.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was like August or September when we went last. You guys went one more later than me, right? I think.
To Tenet? I
think after Tenet, you went to... I think Tenet was the only one, right? Yeah, so...
I just watched Tenet over and over.
Right. I think that was probably last... I don't know, it feels like last summer, but I'm not sure. So then it's a year.
Yeah.
Almost a year.
But it's weird. Everything just goes back to normal, you know? Like you...
Yeah, to see that many people... I mean, there was a couple of movies out, right? So there was Fast 9, there was Space Jam. So there was a lot of people in the lobby.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I'm talking about, that.
A lot of kids in the lobby.
Yeah, it felt like... It seems like people have been missing movies.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. Like I was saying, like I'll get into this after. We're going to talk about The Quiet Place as well. But in the beginning of The Quiet Place, the producer, actor, director, he was in the movie as well.
Yeah. He's all that, I think.
Yeah, all that. Producer, actor, director. Yeah, he was saying like it had like an opening video of him like thanking the audience for coming back, which I thought was good. Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right before it began.
Didn't he do that good news of the day or something on YouTube?
Yeah, he did.
That was him. Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Is it still going? Like,
no, I don't.
Fell off.
I don't know. I don't think so. It was just like for that time, because it was like
nothing to
do. Yeah, but it was also like just hearing bad news of COVID, right?
Oh yeah,
he just wanted to bring some
levity to it. Yeah, true. All right, so what do you think of Fast 9?
Not great.
No, it was like very odd. Well, what I thought was weird is, remember Sunshine's friend was like, oh, it's going to be a 3-part series. And I was like, no, I heard they're stopping at 10. But then I saw The Rock's post and he was like talking about 9, 10, and 11. So I was like, oh, it is going to be a trilogy. But it's like, I feel like they should just really stop now, you know? It's like...
I don't know. Okay, spoiler, right? But I don't know what they can do more... like grander than what they've done.
Yeah, because they went to space.
They went to space.
All right, and
you go to Mars next. Is that the plan?
It's becoming.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And why are you still using a car in space? Like what?
Yeah, I don't know.
It made like zero sense, and it was like hurting my brain as we were watching it. I was like, it's just so dumb. Even they were poking fun at themselves. Remember, like Tyrese's character was like, we never get hurt, we never die. Like, what's going on? Yeah. It's like, yeah, you guys are kind of invincible.
But it seems to work. Like, we didn't like it.
But a lot of people did.
A lot of people did.
Yeah. Tomato meter gave it pretty low, right?
Yeah, as the critic review was low, but the audience score was pretty good.
Yeah, what's up with that? Like, everyone's wanting these, like, maybe because of COVID.
Maybe, yeah. It's been
like they just
nothing
want something dumb.
Yeah, no blockbustery movies like this. Just something dumb and fun, I guess. That's what people wanted to see.
Yeah, I didn't even think it was like... I think because it was so outlandish that it wasn't even fun for me. I was like, you think I'm really dumb, eh? Like, you know, it's like...
The characters have become very much like superheroes.
It's almost like a parody now. Like, they're almost true. Like just making fun of... Like, remember, she's like, you're the only one who can drive the van. And then she was like... I gotta tell you guys, I've never even driven a car.
Right.
And we're like, okay, now this is a joke, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is... Like, it's
like it doesn't make sense.
Insulting my intelligence.
That's true, yeah. It's... Yeah, Fast and the Furious should be able to at least get the guy that knows how to drive.
Yeah, it's drive it. So, like, of course one person doesn't know how to drive because that's gonna be comical. And then it's like that one person... You know,
comes in a scenario which or
she has to drive. Oh, it's gonna be so funny for everyone when they see that. You know, like because I wonder what the pitch meeting's like. You know, like they're just like, and then they go to space, bro. And then the producer's like, I like it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, maybe. I guess people just wanted to see random fun for them. I mean, I didn't find it fun. Maybe they did. So
yeah. Remember he breaks in. I thought this was dumb too. Like Vin Diesel breaks in, and then Interpol's there, and they take him, and then it turns out it's like Cardi B, and then she's like,
and
she saves him, and I was like, what?
I didn't understand that at all.
Like, why did you even introduce the Interpol scene then?
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe it's to show how connected Dom is. Like, I don't know.
It just didn't make sense.
No, it didn't make sense.
Like, what I felt like it was just, okay, let's throw this in here so that we can go to this plot point. Let's throw that in here so that we go to this plot point.
It was,
that's what that was really happening.
Yeah, totally. You know what I thought was really dumb too in the very beginning when they're like, he was all about his kid, right? And then he like loved his kid. Like, we need to do this. And then he leaves his kid.
Yeah.
And then we're like, where did you leave the kid? The kid can't just be by himself.
Yeah.
And then his sister, Vin Diesel's sister, shows up and she's like, don't worry, he's with the safest person we know, Brian. And it's like, wait, didn't you leave him?
That's the easiest. Yeah, that's true. That's the easiest.
But the first thought is like, where did you leave the kid in the first place?
Yeah, because it felt like he just left.
Yeah. It's like, but wouldn't you know that he's with Brian? Because you must have given him to Brian. Or like, where did you leave that kid?
Right. Yeah, it just doesn't have to make sense, I guess.
No, it doesn't have to make sense. That's the crazy part. It's like, he's all about loving his new kid. And then all of a sudden, he's like, oh, they need me. So then he leaves the kid, but the kid is somehow miraculously teleported to Brian.
Yeah.
And Vin Diesel didn't even know he's with Brian because he was shocked. He was like, he's with Brian. You know, it's like, what? Like, you didn't, the writers didn't even think that far ahead.
No, because it didn't matter. I think it's like, it doesn't matter. We don't have to explain this.
Oh, true. Oh, true. Maybe it's like a Michael Bay movie. You know, they wanted to like, let's just get the main driver of the movie is the car chase scenes and the explosions. Doesn't really matter how we get there. We know we need to get to the car chase scenes and the explosions.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like, maybe that's why people loved it. Yeah. Because it didn't make sense.
It's
just like, but then what does it say about society nowadays? You know, it's like, we're just like,
no, people
dummies.
are too busy to really care this much about movies.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Right.
Fair.
It's like,
but if you make a good movie, it's even better.
Yeah, but even like sure, The Quiet Place is, we're gonna get to that, right? Yeah. But like some of these movies are really good. It doesn't get as much, like viewership necessarily.
Right. Because it's like it might not appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
But like Fast and the Furious can appeal to everyone.
Yeah, because it's just like, supposed to be for fun. It's like a roller coaster ride, right?
Yeah, I guess.
That's all. It doesn't have to make sense. Just take me for a ride. Give me the ups and downs.
Remember when Han came back and they're like, how did you survive? You were there. You were dead.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, Mr. Nobody has a way of making things look real.
Right.
It was like, oh my God. So like it was a body double? Like what's going on?
It doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to make
sense.
Doesn't
have to make sense. Yeah. You're just going to bring someone back.
That's true. Fast and Furious does not have to make sense.
Doesn't have to make sense.
They're going to bring Gal Gadot back. If she signs the contract, she'll come back. Like, but we saw you fall out of the thing. No, but I had an invisible parachute that came out. You know what I mean? Something like that would be crazy. Or like,
I thought when they kept saying Mr. Nobody, I kept thinking of the Mr. Nobody movie.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like, me off too. Because every time it's like, oh, Mr. Nobody left us for us, or like left it like you know, like it's just kept thinking of that movie. And it's like, because he was like
saying his name. Yeah, that's very odd. But it really was like they knew how ridiculous it was, because remember Tyrese when he's like, oh, we're invincible, and then like the whole army showed up and then he just started shooting, everyone died and he didn't get hit by a bullet.
Yeah.
And he even said like,
that's why I was like, when I looked at it, I'm like, what? Like it's come to a point where it doesn't have to make sense anymore. Like they're just like superhero characters who'll never get hurt.
Yeah, totally.
Right. So in that way, for me, there's no like vulnerabilities to these characters.
Right.
There's nothing that I really care. I can't care for the characters because they're not really at any risk.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you can't care for them anymore. I really thought they were gonna. Remember, even like we thought they were gonna kill Dom, and like remember he was fighting off all those like soldiers, and he was so strong.
Yeah.
And then he falls in the water, and then you're like, oh, he's dead, and then like no. That girl saved him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. It also, what I thought was super weird about the whole thing is like, why was Dom invincible? The only time he bled was when he fought his brother.
That's what I mean. It's like these are godly characters that only gods can affect. Everyone else is a pawn.
Yeah, true. They're just playing in their own sandbox now. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely. I mean, some people like it, but
just not for us.
Yeah, definitely not for us. All right, so on a better note, what'd you think of A Quiet Place?
Oh, just
part 2.
Yeah, part 2. Amazing.
Yeah.
Like here's the exact opposite.
But we saw it differently though. You saw it streaming, and I saw it in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because I wasn't even going to watch the movie. Mm-hmm. Your brother was like, "It's really good." Wald was like, "It's really good," and then you were like, "It's really good." So I'm like, "Okay, let me go." So, but I remember you said it was like it would be a good theater movie.
Yeah.
So that's what prompted us to be like, "Okay, we'll just watch it in the theaters."
Right.
And you were right. It's like the silent scenes are like more impactful because like it's in a giant theater, and then they cut off the sound, and you're like, "Oh, it's really freaky," you know.
It is really.
I really like how they're playing with like audio, you know, because like I like how they jump from like the dad scene where he's panicking in the very beginning, and then they jump to the daughter's point of view, and she can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Oh, why is my dad freaking out?"
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see that because she's playing off of emotion, especially her character, right? Yeah. And they did go. I don't know if they did this in the first movie, but they did go from like from her perspective, not hearing anything, to then the noise of the world, right?
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if they did it in the first movie.
I think they did, yeah.
I'm not sure if they did it as often as this one. But
no, this one was like,
much more, because she was the main character that we were following. So it was very well done. Very interesting to see how it was.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by the way they put that movie together. It reminded me of, we started watching it, but we didn't finish it, The Sound of Metal.
Yeah.
That's another hearing impaired. Hearing loss is so scary to me because it's like, that's a huge part of how we like go through the world. And like a lot of our like hedonic things, like music is like very emotional and it's tied to hearing, you know? Well, what would you rather lose, sight or hearing? It's tough, right?
That's tough because
they're both very important, but I don't know. I feel like I'd be sadder if I couldn't hear anything.
But I like movies a lot. It's like
you can still hear the movie and you just think about it. You're like imagining.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know.
I guess you could watch the subtitles, sure, but both would suck.
Yeah, I would say both are really bad. I wouldn't want to lose either.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's where Neuralink comes in when saves people's.
They put that in the movie. Remember in what's it called? In The Sound of Metal. Remember he's like, "Don't worry, we just need to implant you with hearing." Thing.
Yeah, those are general hearing aids. There are things where
really?
they
Cool. So there are things like that.
Yeah, they do put something inside. I don't know how they do it.
Not
the
like
surgery
on top.
stuff.
Not like the girl in The Quiet Place where
no.
On top.
There's something like, inside that it connects to get the.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'd go with no hearing because
if there's solutions to this,
I don't know any solutions to the sight thing yet. Yeah, could you imagine when we're all cyborgs, it won't even matter. It's like, just...
Yeah, at that point, we will be enhancing these abilities.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It really brought into question, like seeing this in the theaters and then seeing that you can stream it on Amazon. It's like there are certain movies that are like theater, like remember prior to this, I was thinking that movies are going to be dead because it's like, we can all stream it now. But going back to the theater and watching Quiet Place, it reminded me of like movies like Dunkirk, Tenet. Yep. There's certain movies that were like meant for the big screen. Yeah,
that's why Christopher Nolan was really upset when I think HBO Max was saying a lot of their movies are coming both streaming and theater at the same time, right? And I think I read somewhere where also next year there's going to be about 10 movies going to be in the streaming as well.
Oh, okay.
For both. So, and he was really upset about that because it's
not everything though.
No, it's not everything, but a lot of their movies seems like a lot of the big ones too were getting streaming and theater, right?
Yeah.
So, because especially with Christopher Nolan, like he makes these movies in with theater in mind.
Yeah, totally.
Right, and not home viewing. Right?
But it's weird. It's weird though, because it's like it is the only form of entertainment that is already packaged, but we all collectively go to a place to see this thing.
Yeah.
Like it's already done. We can just watch it at home.
Yeah.
Just give us the digital download. But there's something about the movie experience that you just can't get rid of.
Right. Again, I think it'll take time to bring it back to theaters, or either because what they're doing now is also just releasing only in theaters. They specifically say in trailers only in theaters,
totally. Because
people got used to that they were coming on streaming as well.
Totally, yeah.
And once they keep doing that, then people have to come back, right?
For sure.
But at the moment, I still feel like more people are still going to choose streaming than go to the theaters.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's more because we like the environment of the theater that to us it's meaningful to keep them around.
Yeah.
But I do see, like, especially with COVID and stuff, like people.
But see, there's like two things, right? With theater, you mentioned it's like where I have to sit through the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
But then if you watched Fast 9 at home streaming, it's like, we would have stopped it already.
Yeah. And very true. Yeah, that's very true. Like Hitman's Bodyguard's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's like a pausable movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's easy with streaming is to just stop. If it's really bad, like you just stop it.
You don't have to. But again, that's why we're saying like there's certain movies that, well, yeah. If we had watched certain movies in theaters, we would have finished the consumption of it.
That's true. Yeah.
But because you paid for it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think that does give that almost makes it like bad movies. It's almost like it's weeding out bad movies though. Because like, if nobody's finishing the stream, why are you gonna continue pumping more money into it?
Right. Yeah.
It might actually be a good thing now that I think of it. That like streaming and theaters are there, because like it'll, if it's like you'll see the metrics that this movie's not doing well, but it would have made money in theaters because it's the only thing people could have seen.
Right.
You know what I mean? You'll get like a better metric behind the success of the movie. Because like, it's opening weekend, but nobody went to go watch it or like they left halfway through the movie.
But they already got the money anyways, right? In that aspect.
No, not unless it's like Amazon Prime or like Netflix.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of the streaming service anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I think about it, there's like so many movies that I would have finished if we watched in theaters, but I didn't. Like Six Underground.
Yeah.
Or that
Michael Bay movie. Yeah. If it's a movie I'm liking, I would try to finish it, but like it's also very easy to be distracted.
But that's also why I like movie theaters, because you're locked away for that 2 hours or 3 hours. Like your phone's off.
Your phone's off too. You're not even touching that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a freaking like an airplane.
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
Like on an airplane.
Yeah.
But like here, if I'm watching something, you could be like, oh, pause, we got to bring Athena for a walk or something.
Or like when you were watching Black Widow, you were like scrolling on
my phone, on
your phone. Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah. So.
But we would have had to pay attention if we paid for it and they had it in the theaters. Yeah. I think there's only been like 1 or 2 movies I've walked out of because I'm like, I just can't do it. Yeah, so the attrition rate is a lot higher for streaming than theaters. Yeah, what a weird. Yeah, COVID's really like changing the game for a lot of things,
Yeah.
What do you think about? Go
ahead.
No. We were talking about this beforehand as well, but speaking of COVID and changing the game, going maskless now that we've been masked for so long.
Yeah.
It is pretty. That'll be an interesting step, because
I think that's the next hurdle, right?
But not just like, because like the CDC said, because we have 2 shots, you can like hug people now or whatever. You don't even have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
But like, how long before we actually flip that switch in our heads, you know, like my dad wanted to see Fast 9, right? But he's like, no, I'll wait till it comes out because I don't want to go to theater. There's no like HEPA filter in the freaking,
yeah.
You know, and I'm
I
like,
understand.
so then why'd get the shot? You know, might as well have just not got the shot and stayed home. Just like, you know, like the whole point of getting the shot is that we're going to live our lives again. But, you know, there's still going to be that lag time before people feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's the lag time that to get comfort because we got used to wearing masks everywhere.
But I think like for us, like we'll jump back like right away, just like theaters open, cool, we'll go in. But then people are like, yeah, but you can still get that Delta variant. It's like, okay,
but people are still really afraid even after getting the vaccine. They're
right?
Still
and it's like
afraid.
crazy to me because I'm like, but that's the point of the vaccine. Why even get it then? If you're going to be afraid after getting the vaccine, then why'd you even get it? Oh, it's so I don't get sick in case I do get sick. It's like, if you're going to keep up your same level of like stringent cleaning and like, I'm not going to go to these events, then it's like, it seems pointless to me.
Right.
You know? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, I don't know, still very afraid.
Yeah, super afraid. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu was very fascinating. Like the first day that I went back, and then like, I think I said this last week, but like wearing a mask and then being like, hey, do we not have to wear a mask in here? And they're like, oh, not if you don't want to. I'm like, cool. I took it off right away because I'm like, I'm trusting that the government knows what it's doing, you know? So it's like, okay, you told me that we can hug each other again. We can like...
Well, CDC is not ours, right?
But still, it's like...
Because Health Canada hasn't officially said it to...
Totally. But it's like, but what are... No, but in Vancouver, there's no masks.
That's, I guess, a provincial thing.
No, right. So I'm saying is like, if other places are doing it, why are we so like? It's like how they're saying in North America the only place without indoor dining is Toronto, and it's so ridiculous. Yeah. But it's like, I get the pragmatism, but we're going with experts here, you know. Or else why get the shot? I just don't understand.
No. Yeah, you know though I think they're just maybe they're more precautionary until we get to like a higher double dose percentage.
Yeah,
depends on how they are looking at it. Because I think we're probably around 60% now. So.
Oh, nice. Double dose?
Yeah,
that's great. What I thought was weird though, when we were going, like I mentioned, there's a pop-up vaccine at Mel Lastman, and then when we were walking past this one lady who was working there, she's like a volunteer, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna get my shot today, and one of the other volunteers like, you aren't vaxxed yet? And it's like, oh yeah, that is weird to hear now. It's like, why aren't you vaxxed? You know? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that each person's why they're not vaxxed yet. I don't know.
But I'm saying it's a weird
to not be.
Yeah,
you're saying Well, there's still a portion of it they aren't. So we've hit only about 80%.
But I think it's also weird though that she's volunteering at a vax clinic and you're not vaxxed yet. So it's like, do you believe in the cause? Like, I don't understand.
So maybe it just didn't have time. We don't know each person's situation. She's getting it now, so.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, maybe she just wasn't like.
Was it her second shot?
No, her first. She hasn't gotten her first.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know. Maybe something happened that she couldn't get it yet until.
True. Yeah. Okay, I'm wondering how this is all gonna play out now. Going forward, like when Theresa Tam's like, don't like make people feel bad who still want to wear their mask.
Yeah. In some ways,
that'll be very, very interesting when it's done.
Yeah.
You know, it's like not 100% double.
Well, we can see it in America, like what's happening too. There are some people are still wearing the masks. There's a lot more people, I would say, have removed their masks now.
Yeah, they're feeling like comfortable enough to. Well, what's our number in Ontario?
I think it was like less than 200.
In cases. Ontario?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Think about how many millions of people are in Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah. Less than 200.
So that's why, like, to me, I'm like, why are we freaking out so much? You know, it's going to most likely pass through people who are unvaccinated.
That's what they say, right? Phase 4. Like a fourth wave. I mean, yeah.
It's this is pretty interesting. So there's So like during the wave of like women getting like breast implants. So there's like this new wave of people getting, because they didn't know. So during that time, women were getting breast implants. Tara's watching something about The Bachelor, and the person's getting like breast implant removal. There's a new thing of that now because they didn't realize that leaving like a foreign thing in your body, your physical body starts to attack it as if, because it knows it's not real. So like people are getting really sick, like not cancer, but they're getting like their bodies are rejecting it now after all these years, right? So there's a huge like push to get them removed. And then it made me think about the vaccine, because it was like, oh, is that what's gonna happen to us with like the vaccine? Because like after so many years, blah blah blah. And Tara's like, no, the vaccine actually leaves your body. It just trains your cells, and then
it's not in you.
There's nothing inside of you.
No.
Yeah, your cells just learn how to.
Your cells learn how to defend against like a spike protein.
Yeah, and that's it. And then like you're gonna like sweat it out or whatever. I don't know. Metabolize.
No, it's because your body now remembers how to, like, it's programmed now, in a sense. Like, oh, we know this virus.
We've seen
the
it
shape
before,
of this. We've seen this before. We know how to attack it. So that's what will happen.
But I brought that up because a lot of people believing that the vaccine's gonna make you sterile, or like it's gonna give you cancer in all these few years. But it's like it's not like there's nothing physically left in you. That's why they're having the breast implant removals now, because there's something still physically in you.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, just food for thought. I think it's just like silly not to get vaccinated now. But you were watching that thing with Vietnam. Yeah,
there's a lot of places in Asia still.
And then Paris, you said that they were like...
There's a different scenario in Paris. Was about COVID pass. So you can't... I think they're doing something, if it passes, like to go to malls or restaurants, that you would have to show that you've been vaccinated.
Right.
Or you are negative on your test.
Right. And they didn't want that.
So there's a lot of people protesting that, because that will actually segregate people.
Yeah, totally. And what's the name? Ford said he didn't want to do that. No separate rules.
Yeah, he was saying there's no like, he didn't want to do any like provincial, government set rule. I guess individual businesses can do whatever they want to do.
Okay. You see that thing where it's like the gym's not letting vaccinated people sign up.
Yeah, there was one gym too. Yeah, that was like... Yeah, I saw that.
Well, you're gonna close.
You're gonna probably the most likely one to catch COVID.
Yeah,
totally. That's what it seems like. Sure, so that's the we know where not to go. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, thank you for letting us know. Yeah. It's weird, the responses for all this. Yeah, that guy I was talking to in I forgot where he's from. Martin Jenkins. This guy. I forgot. It's like. Well, anyways, I have like a person I met while I was traveling, and then I still keep in touch with him. And he was saying that there's this
European.
European inter-country travel, so they have to show that they have the vaccine.
Yeah, I think the EU. I was just watching something or Reddit, where it passed. I think in the 1st of July, where there's an EU passport, COVID passport, COVID passport, to be able to travel between.
Yeah, between countries.
European nations,
Yeah, that's crazy. In one way, though, I feel like Canada, in its pursuit to become the first country, like number one country, it's almost like they're moving a bit too fast, because some things they were like reneging on. So like the AstraZeneca thing, and then, and then they pulled the AstraZeneca, and then they're like, oh, mix, and then they're like, oh, you shouldn't mix.
Well, they weren't saying you shouldn't mix.
No, I know.
Right.
No, they weren't saying. No, but I'm saying Canada is so quick to adopt any sort of like vaccine, whatever. Like, all right.
I don't think that they were necessarily
AstraZeneca, and
they didn't cancel AstraZeneca. I think they just said they didn't cancel AstraZeneca.
But they paused it in those. We're not even doing first.
No. It's just the pause to look at the reports, right?
Okay.
Of the cases that they were getting.
But why are they not doing first dose AstraZeneca now?
Because we have enough mRNA. Like, it was, what happened was they classed the vaccines.
Okay.
They classed it in the sense like primary.
Okay.
Right? And like like they just leveled it off. Like this is level 1 vaccines. These are level 2 level,
they tiered it.
They tiered it, yeah. So when they did that, most people didn't want to get it anymore, right? Because they want the tier 1. Why would you want to get tier 3?
Wasn't there that thing that they're like, we're not giving out the first dose AstraZeneca now because
that's what the provinces decided to do.
That's what I mean. So
because they were getting enough of the mRNA that we didn't want to. We weren't
risk it.
Yeah, and we weren't getting AstraZeneca's.
No, but that's what I mean. Like we're so quick to adopt any new thing.
Well, the idea was to get people vaccinated. That's the only way to get back to normal and to be able to handle COVID. That's why they were doing that.
I agree, but
they were making these decisions based on science.
No. So I agree. But it's like that's why I was like, no, I'll wait, or like, no, I'll just go with the original study. You know, like even now with the mixed vaccines, and then some countries don't recognize that as being double dose. And you were saying like, yeah, that'll change over time. Yeah, sure, but at the current moment,
look, our prime minister is double dose, mixed vax.
No, of course, right? Yeah, of course, so of course. But it's like it doesn't mean it was the smartest move, you know, just because he did it.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like we were moving too fast. Let's all just wait for.
The thing is, I don't know if there's the term moving too fast. It's more like we had to be ahead of COVID. This is the only way to get ahead of COVID.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah. So like, look where we are at right now.
No, that's great. I'm a little more pragmatic, even though I'm like pro-vaccine. I'm like still more pragmatic in it.
And I think those things are a bit more of an understanding sense of why you would wait, but you're still like for the vaccine, but you're just you want the same two.
I didn't want to mix
two doses. You want to get the tier 1 level types of vaccines, of course, and those are the things that make sense. When you say you're not getting vax because you're going to be
sterile,
all these like weird things that have no science basis, then you know what I mean, like. There's levels to where you can have vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the better term. Like you can have vaccine hesitancy, but against vaccines, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No. I'm like, I look at the other stuff because I follow them, and a lot of, like I was saying before, that a lot of spiritual people are like anti-vax, and you were like, yeah, because maybe they're vegan and like they try and live a specific type of lifestyle, but it's like it almost just seems to me like you're silly.
Yeah,
like you, how can you not see this for what it is?
Yeah, and you've seen what it's doing to other parts of the world. Yeah. Right? I don't understand. Like what? We saw like all of 2020, the deaths in America. Then we saw the waves in India, right? Yeah. And now it's happening in like Vietnam or Thailand. It's spreading, and they don't have the vaccines, right? And they're seeing numbers going up for younger people in Spain. With case numbers, but that's also because they were doing like a age tiered vaccination.
Right.
So, they didn't have a lot of people under 30 yet vaccinated.
Right. So of course that number is going to be higher
for the people under 30.
Yeah,
who are getting the cases. So
because they didn't get the vaccine. Yeah. So it's really showing you that like people who are going to hospitals are all people who haven't had the vaccine. Mm-hmm. Although, like I was saying before, that it is weird that COVID like presents itself differently to different people. Yeah. Like my cousin and his mom, they got it in the Philippines and now they're totally fine. And it was like, oh, that's weird. Mm-hmm. Or Joe Rogan, I was saying before the podcast that everyone around him was getting COVID except for him, and he hasn't had the vaccine. Mm-hmm. It's like these like weird outliers are very odd to me, because it's like.
Yeah, we don't know how.
Like, but then that's where these conspiracy theorists, they take that one thing and then they're like, see, it's but it's like, no, but look at the overwhelming evidence. Like, sure, these one outlier, but like,
well, one outlier isn't like when you compare it to a million cases. Yeah, it's like it's fit a certain category. We don't know how some people have huge reactions to it, right? Or like even severe. To the point of death.
Yeah, totally.
And then there's people that just have mild or asymptomatic, right, to almost nothing from it.
Yeah, if this was a virus that was intended to like kill off half the earth, it's like it kind of just looks like that. You know, this is a movie and they're like, we're going to release this virus to kill off half the earth. It's like it really is deciding, you know? Yeah.
And maybe because there are multiple variants of the virus, right? They're always changing, slight changes each time it spreads to another person, right? There's nothing like no big changes. There are the big changes, which is why we have those different categories now, right?
Delta and
alpha, delta, lambda, right?
Lambda. Wow.
Yeah. So, but even like, sure, those are the bigger differences, but then there are minor changes that happen each time it changes to someone else, which isn't like a huge change, right?
Right.
But maybe those things have an effect, because generally with viruses, the point is to not necessarily kill the host. Actually, in the beginning, it's like that, but then as it evolves, that it's supposed to
live symbiotically,
be more infectious but less deadly.
Oh, okay.
Because you want to spread it to more people.
Right. That's
because if a person dies, then it's not spreading.
Right. That's how the virus lives. What a great case for like humans too. Remember the Matrix? They're like, humans are the virus.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
We like inhabit planets, and then just like destroy them, or like suck out the resources.
Yeah.
But like you're saying with the virus, as it grows, like it doesn't really want to kill the host. It's like, it's almost like for us, if we go to a different planet and the planet runs out of resources, like, well, why don't we just not tax that planet? You know, it's like there's a lot of characteristics very similar from viruses and human beings.
Yeah. And we don't know, like, they're still studying even the variants. We don't have full, like, all the knowledge of it yet, right? Well, we know, like, Delta, Lambda, these are, like, very infectious, but we don't know necessarily how deadly they are.
Right.
Because we don't have all the evidence of that yet.
Right. So maybe the one that they got was like the Delta, but it's less deadly. But it's But again, we're also making assumptions. We don't really know, and the study's not even concluded. Right. Totally. Yeah. For sure.
So.
For sure. Oh, it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out. Currently, the Olympics is going on, and there is no one in the crowd who still watches the Olympics. It's so random.
I don't mind it sometimes.
I guess. I don't know. It's like every 4-year thing that I just see my parents always leave on the TV, and I'm like, okay. It's kind of funny because this is what we got going on right now. Like, Bish is watching the skateboard Olympics as we do this podcast.
Yeah. It's a new one to this year's Olympics: skateboarding and rock climbing.
Yeah.
And then I saw the 3 versus 3 basketball, which is like using half court, which is like what we used to play as street ball.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was new or if that was there in the last one. I'm not sure.
Olympics just seems like a joke to me. It's like, why are we watching these people do these sports?
It's just.
I know that guy though, Nigel Houston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Like I was watching as you were talking, I was watching the screen and I saw him there, and I was like, oh, because you were saying like America's #1 or something, right, in skateboarding.
Well, so what we're watching is they have 4 prelims or 4 heats, I guess.
Yeah.
And they have like different 6 people.
Okay.
Right? So this is like, I think the 2nd prelim or 3rd prelim. I don't know what.
But you're
what
saying America's doing really well.
Well, in the first one that I was watching, he finished at #1.
Yeah, it makes sense because that's where all like the big skateboard teams are from. It's like the NBA. Like, of course, the NBA is going to win.
Right.
The American team's obviously going to win the basketball. You know.
Yeah. That's kind of
right. Yeah. That's why with the Nigel Houston. Oh, I know that guy too. Santiago. Yeah, Manny Santiago. But these are all just street skateboard people. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
like
become an Olympic sport. I guess it's when you get recognized by the Olympics, it's now like there's a level of
P-Rod too. Oh no, never mind. It looked like P-Rod. Sorry. Keep going.
There's a level of once it's recognized by the Olympics, it's like, oh, it's officially like a sport.
Yeah,
like,
totally, totally. That's why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they're trying to get into.
The thing is that they have to. The Olympics has to evolve, right? There's so many new sports, and I think eventually.
Oh, you're calling esports, right?
It's like eventually once we, figure out the debate between is esports a sport or not.
Right.
There is some level to skill to play these games, so it's like eventually maybe these things will be added because they need to bring in the younger crowd.
Yeah, because it's boring for all of us. Like, who's watching this right now?
I'm not watching Taekwondo.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
I did like archery though. I did watch a little bit of archery yesterday, which is kind of cool.
Right.
But it's like Taekwondo or fencing.
Like I'm kind of like
I'm not gonna watch that.
That's still around, Yeah.
Swimming is still cool, I guess. Like that's still there. But again, these are not young crowds. Young crowds are coming in from skateboarding, rock climbing.
Totally, and that's what I was saying. Like for me, the Olympics has always been just something my parents put on. Like I don't actually ever really like. I don't know. I mean, I'm fascinated by this because I know these skateboarders, and I'm like, oh wow, you guys actually made it to the Olympics. It's so random. But yeah, I agree with you. It definitely needs to evolve.
And I think they know that. They can see that from the viewership.
Yeah, true.
That it needs to. They know from the viewership and the age group that's watching that they need to
introduce other things.
That's why they're doing it.
Yeah, true. So this is the first year that they had skateboarding?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Skateboarding and rock climbing.
That's weird. Esports, yeah.
I don't know how they're doing rock climbing. Is it like the fastest? I'm not sure how they. Is it fastest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was listening to the guy from Free Solo. He was talking about it.
You know
what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Alex Honnold, the guy that climbs without a rope. He was on Joe Rogan talking about it, and he said that it's all about speed climbing now.
Yeah. How else do you do it as a competition? Really?
Yeah, in a way that you're like wowed by it.
Yeah.
Because if you watch like people slowly climbing something, you're like, well, it's boring,
Yeah, no one's gonna watch that.
But fun fact about the Olympics: these people don't really make money coming to these, but they become like celebrities. I guess.
Yeah, you can use depends if you are like Michael Phelps, for instance. Like this name is kind of known because he won like 8 medals. I don't know how many medals he won.
I only know him because of the weed charge.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, he became famous because of that, and then there were people watching him, paparazzis and things like that. So then they caught him with the weed thing, right? So it's like, if he didn't win any medals, he wouldn't have been nobody.
Yeah, true. It's only because he
won so many medals, right? Even if you win a medal, it's still not. You're not making a lot of money.
Yeah, no. Ronda Rousey was talking about it. She's an Olympic gold medalist for judo, and now she's fighting the UFC, and she's like, it's a grind for nothing.
Yeah.
Has to be like a passion that you built.
It has to be, yeah. It has to be.
Or maybe like these guys, because they're all skateboarders, right? So maybe they just do it like it's like this is their actual full-time job, and they're just coming here to show off their talents,
Yeah. Right.
So sort of like NBA players, But you were saying that guy who won the free shooting, he was a nurse?
Yeah, I think they said he was a nurse.
So it's like those are the few, and those are the majority where it's like
they do have other jobs.
Yeah.
And then the archery Korea that won the mixed archery competition. Korea won, and that kid was like 17 years old, gold medalist.
Oh wow!
So
yeah, that's crazy. You were saying too, or maybe it was you, or I read it somewhere. No, I think it was you. They're not allowed to leave after. They can only do their competition. They have to leave the country because of COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you're supposed to be there like 5 days prior to
doing the competition.
when your competition starts, I guess.
So that sucks. You show up to like Tokyo.
Yeah, you can't really go outside of the Olympic Village or something.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's not the best of scenarios. So some of these athletes use it as let's go explore.
Travel, for sure.
Like, let's go explore the country.
Let's check out stuff.
Yeah, but like even here, it's like the skateboard thing. It's like huge stadiums. Like no one is there. It's like
that's weird.
The money you spent on this and no audience.
I know, right? You lost all the potential
revenue
to make your money back.
Yeah, Yeah, and only people are. I think the audience are just people of other Olympians who are there.
Oh, really? You're just watching other. Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you gonna do? Because you can't even leave the grounds. So. Yeah. Weird times.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So final thing, Netflix gaming. Just quickly, you were talking about this.
Yeah. Somebody leaked that rumor that Netflix is looking into. I guess streaming gaming or something.
But it's something we talked about before. Remember during the PS5 podcast, I was saying like it'll just become a box that like directly streams to, and then you just connect it to your.
Well, you don't need a box at all, maybe, right?
But then, how do you have the controller connected?
It's like even TVs are coming out with like their own Bluetooth thing, right?
Oh, so you just connect a controller.
Yeah. Maybe they might release like Google Stadia has a controller.
Okay.
But Google Stadia is something like what Netflix is trying to do, I think.
Okay.
Which is running all the gaming through the streaming.
Okay.
And you buy that Google Stadia controller, right?
Yeah.
It works if you're using it on PC, iPads, or whatnot. And you just play a game like that. So I don't know. I think they're starting. It said mobile gaming at first, so
right. You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. So slowly getting in that, because I think they see that that's the next thing. Because nobody right now they were ahead of the game in streaming in the first place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now there are so many other competition now that they need to. We need something else to entice people back into Netflix again, which is, I think it makes sense with gaming.
Is it going to be like a additional cost, or is it going to be a part of your?
I'm not sure. I think this is the rumor when it came out, or the leak when it came out. It was just they're just in early talks.
Oh, okay. So nothing like solidified.
Nothing
yet.
is concrete here yet.
Okay.
They might not even do it. It could be like one of on the ideas, or like on the idea board.
Yeah.
Right. So.
I feel like that would make the logical next step for gaming.
Right.
Because why do you need a console anymore? Just
I think
for graphical power, sure.
Right, but if you can, that's the whole point of Google Stadia, was to do that without the console, right?
Right.
But you need to, like, you need to really, like, flesh out that there's no lag times.
Yeah.
All these things have to be issued, like,
because
solved.
that is a big part of it. Like,
that's a big thing.
If you're moving your character and you have to, like, there's a slight lag, it's like, oh.
Yeah, and Google Stadia did have that problem, or I think they still do have that problem here and there. So that's why a lot of when their first Google Stadia was announced, I think there was a lot of the AAA games were kind of delayed a bit. I think because they were still solving that lag issue. I think so, and especially with Netflix, who's been doing streaming for a long time.
Yeah,
that I think they understand the back channels of all this thing works, so I could probably. They have a system that probably works much more better.
Yeah, true.
To reduce any kind of lag, if there is any.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they have the infrastructure.
Yeah, and they have the streaming experience. Right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so it makes sense that they'd want to enter into this new realm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if like it'd be interesting, like Crave, Amazon. What's their response going to be if Netflix does introduce this?
They're still just going to focus on
movies
for now, because they were way late in the game even making streaming.
That's true.
Like even
Netflix was like the only #1 streamer, and then
for a long time, they had that in the bag for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
They still do around the world, right? Because there's other countries that don't have other platforms.
Right.
So they still have that lead.
Yeah, my cousins just got Netflix in the Philippines.
Right. And there's and it's only one that's there, right? There's no other. Like HBO isn't everywhere.
Right.
I think only Apple TV maybe. But that's their own thing, right?
Yeah. And you also have to buy a device for it too. And
you need to have at least an Apple device.
It's not like a subscription thing like Netflix, where it just uses the browser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you need to have that app at least. Yeah. I think that makes sense for Netflix.
Heading towards gaming.
Yeah, heading towards gaming, because it is gaming itself is a very big moneymaker.
Yeah, I agree.
Compared to like movies and things like that. They make a lot of money.
Yeah. Especially with the rise of esports now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's really fascinating. It's always been there, you know, like in Asia, especially like those internet cafes, they'd have like Dota competitions and stuff.
Yeah, but they're
StarCraft competitions.
Right. They're much more, especially in Korea, those areas, those are much more bigger there.
But now it's like breaking out into the limelight. Now everyone's like really getting in on it. The rest of the world, I mean. Yeah, it's also scary too to think though, because imagine if we all go straight like streaming and like everything's digital, and then we have like a power outage, you're like done.
Yeah.
Right? Like that thing about the solar flare that was supposed to happen and then knock out the entire world's power.
Right.
Didn't happen, but if that did happen and we're in a fully digital, what was it? They did that in Blade Runner. Remember, it was like
is it a new Blade Runner?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that yet.
Oh, okay. They talked about the Great Blackout. And they said like there was a power outage and they lost all their data because everything was in digital format. Yeah. It's like first world problems. New age problems. Yeah. I wonder if physical hardware will really die. You know, like even photos, you know, Polaroids and stuff. Now it's all like on your iPhone or whatever.
Yeah, I just think the
like photo albums, for example. Yeah. My parents still have photo albums. I'm like, who has that? That's so random.
Yeah. I don't think people are making photo albums with new pictures, are they? Or is it just old pictures?
I have no idea. I just like that just seems archaic to me. So I know like the
well, you're posting it on Instagram, you're posting it on all these social media, so it's like these are the collages of stuff.
Yeah, totally, exactly. Yeah. Maybe we are going to full digital world, like physical's dead. Like now things like Instax or Instapics, I forgot what it was called, the Polaroid thing, the new Polaroid alternative. You've seen those, right? It looks like a Polaroid camera, and then
I think so.
They're more like gimmicky now,
right?
And then
just for enthusiasts,
or like artsy people. And then what you do is you still take a photo of that Polaroid and you post that on Instagram. Like you take a photo of you holding the Polaroid, you know. So it's like,
right. Okay.
It seems like kind of physical's dead. Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. Just more clutter.
Yeah. Yeah, weird. Actually, if you think about it, it actually ties into the whole like theater thing, right? Because like we're talking about like streaming things versus actually physically going to theaters. Maybe like in the future, the only people that go to theaters are enthusiasts, just like the people that only buy like Instapics or whatever.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. Like who buys movies right now? That's also an enthusiast.
Like physical copies, you mean, right?
Yeah, physical copies. Of movies.
Nobody. I mean, I do.
Yeah, but you're an enthusiast for movies. True. So it's like there's specific.
That's true. Right? Yeah.
Types of people.
Weird. All right, the future is digital. Cool.
I think we need that.
I know, but like to what degree? Especially like going back to the theaters now. It's like, yeah. I mean, there are, like we said, there are movies that should be seen in theaters because they were built for theaters, but the people who are really going to enjoy that, few and far between now, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time, stay digital. Take it easy, Vish.
Yeah. Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.